Last week, I did a series of videos with overhyped, overrated niche perfumes. In today's video, I'm going to talk about overrated, overhyped niche houses. Because, besides the perfumes, also there are entire houses out there that are highly, highly overhyped. And in today's video, I'm going to give you what I consider to be 5 niche houses that are extremely overrated. Houses that I have fragrances from, that I had fragrances from, and I almost entirely got disappointed with the quality of the fragrances, but especially with the creativity and also with the price-performance ratio, considering how expensive they are. Therefore, keep this in mind. This is my opinion as a user, as a consumer. You may have a different opinion. That's your problem, not my problem. Let's start with the first house. And these are houses that are extremely overhyped and overrated by a lot of people, especially in the online community. First house in this list is called Electimuss. Honestly, out of all the fragrances that I had from Electimuss, only one was entirely satisfactory for me, and that one wasn't even very original, very creative. It was a Aventus-inspired fragrance. It's called Imperium, if I'm not mistaken. I don't own the bottle anymore. But every single fragrance that I tested from this house, every single fragrance of this house that I own in my collection, lacks quite a bit comparing to all the, let's say, praises that you hear in the online community. They are great, they are good, they perform well, but they are very uninspiring, very unoriginal, and to be honest with you, they are not worth the price. At least, this is how I see things. The next house that I'm going to talk about, and I've always considered this house to be extremely overhyped and overrated, is this one. Tom Ford. Don't get me wrong, they do have some very beautiful creations, they do have some very beautiful compositions. Some of them are really, really great fragrances, but the vast majority are not. So Tom Ford is my second entry in this list, not necessarily regarding this particular fragrance, but still, this is a very overrated, overhyped house. And honestly, in my book, they are not worth the money, especially because you have a lot of lesser known niche houses that produce really, really beautiful and interesting perfumes. Tom Ford has a lot of fragrances. I also don't really agree with their business model, providing fragrances on the market, discontinuing them after only 1 or 2 years on the market, keeping them discontinued and then re-releasing them after another 2 years at a higher price. I really do not appreciate this type of business, which I consider to be very shady. As I said, to me, Tom Ford is a very overhyped and overrated. And in most cases, most of their fragrances aren't worth the money or the prices that they are asking. Third entry in this list, let's not forget about this house. This is Fragrance du Bois. This has to be one of the most overhyped niche houses out there. Every single video, every single post, every single article that you're going to see about a fragrance from this house is extremely, extremely praising. And I honestly don't get it. They cost a lot, they are expensive fragrances, and I honestly do not understand why they are so praised, why they are so overhyped. Because basically, there isn't really too much to praise about their creations. Every scent, every perfume that I tested from Fragrance du Bois has disappointed me. Not entirely, but mostly they are disappointing, especially in terms of performance. This is, to me, one of the most artificially overhyped fragrances in the online community. Honestly, I do not consider them being worth the money. They have good quality, but lacking a lot in performance. And that's a big no in my book. Fragrance du Bois, my third entry in this list with overhyped, overrated niche houses. Next entry, and again, I have to do this mention, not all their fragrances, but again, most of them are really overhyped. Unique Luxury. This is a Turkish house from Istanbul. This is a really good perfume, a very beautiful chocolatey perfume, but everything else that I tested is basically something that I already sniffed many years ago in different creations from different houses, Therefore, there's nothing quite unique about their compositions. Yes, they have good quality, they have good performance, but if you are a fanatic of niche perfumery and you love artistry, you love creativity, you love uniqueness, this isn't a house that provides that uniqueness. Also, quite hefty on the price tag, if you ask me, considering that you are basically paying for inspired fragrances done many years ago. Unique and Luxury, my fourth entry in this house. And my fifth entry, probably the most overhyped niche house, and it isn't Creed, although it might be included in this list, in this video, but I've only chosen 5 entries for this video. It might also be Rojadov, if you want. It most certainly might be Maison Francis Kurkdjian, for that example, but my fifth entry is this one, Clive Christian. Yeah, basically the same thing as the others, not very creative, not very good performing. If you are interested in fragrances that actually perform on your skin, not really intriguing, not really the greatest quality also in all their fragrances. Sometimes I get the feeling that they use quite a lot of cheap materials. For example, or the best example is this one, if you ask me. And what I have here is the original bottle, the original formulation, which is L. Yeah, it honestly doesn't smell like the highest quality of materials was chosen and put inside this composition. Therefore, sometimes in some of their creations, they are lacking a lot in terms of quality, they are lacking a lot in terms of performance, but they are not lacking, if you want, in the price tag. Because Clive Christian, to be honest with you, is one of the most expensive niche houses out there, and it beats me why they are asking those prices. I honestly don't know how much this bottle goes around for, but most certainly it sure is a pretty penny. So, my fifth entry in this list comes from the house of Clive Christian. As I said, there could be more entries, like Maison Francis Kurkdjian, Tamil London, for that matter, let's not forget about them. There could be Rojadov, for example. There could be Creed also, and many examples could follow in this type of list. But I've decided to focus only on 5 entries. As I said, this is my personal opinion. This doesn't mean that I will not buy further any fragrances from these houses. I'm just saying that not every time they are worth the price that you pay. So you need to be very careful when picking a fragrance from these houses. You need to be, or to make sure that you actually get to test the fragrances or the fragrance that you are interested in purchasing, and only afterwards, based on your own opinions, decide if it's worth or not worth paying the price they are asking. Do not play with niche perfumery, because it isn't the same thing as designer perfumery. Prices are totally different. They go really, really high. So you might end up actually losing money and regretting the fact that you purchased things that you didn't know about, but you purchased them only because you saw in the online community people talking and praising and overhyping those products. Yeah, these are my top 5 overrated, overhyped, artificially overrated houses. And I honestly encourage you to be very careful with products from them. As always, sample, test them on your own skin, decide for yourself, and only afterwards pay or do not pay the asking price. I'm going to stop here. As always, my friends, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your attention. I'm going to catch you in the next one. Be safe, be good. Peace.